Welcome back to Daily Health Secrets, the place for people who want to restore their health naturally and understand how the body truly works instead of depending endlessly on medications and temporary fixes. Today, we are diving into one of the most fascinating health paradoxes in the world. Have you ever wondered why Japanese people eat white rice almost every single day, yet maintain low obesity rates and long life expectancy? In many other countries, white rice is labeled the enemy of blood sugar and metabolic disease. Millions are terrified of glucose spikes and insulin resistance. But what if the problem is not the rice itself? Japanese culture has quietly preserved a simple habit that changes how starch behaves inside the body. This adjustment transforms rice from a blood sugar bomb into a protective fuel that nourishes the gut microbiome. Today, we reveal the science of resistant starch and how Japanese eating traditions hold the secret for preventing insulin resistance and supporting healthy aging. Let's begin. Imagine a cold evening where you sit down to a comforting meal of freshly cooked, steaming white rice. The grains are soft, fragrant, and satisfying. For many, hot rice represents comfort. But the moment that steaming spoonful enters your stomach, a silent biochemical chain reaction begins. While you cannot feel it, your organs immediately enter a state of metabolic stress. When hot rice reaches the intestine, digestive enzymes like alpha amylase rapidly attack the starch. Because it is hot, the starch structure is in its most digestible state, called gelatinization. Molecules become vulnerable, allowing enzymes to break them into glucose extremely quickly. Within minutes, large amounts of sugar flood the bloodstream, causing levels to spike dramatically. The pancreas receives an emergency signal. It urgently releases insulin to push glucose into cells. Over time, cells become overwhelmed by constant exposure and begin resisting insulin's signal. Once insulin resistance develops, glucose struggles to enter cells properly. Even after a large meal, your cells remain energy starved. The brain responds by increasing hunger and cravings. A dangerous cycle forms. Rapid carbohydrates lead to glucose spikes, insulin surges, fat storage, chronic inflammation, and eventually type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and cognitive decline. Yet something strange happens in Japan. They eat rice regularly at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Why do they experience lower rates of metabolic disease and remain sharp well into their 90s? The secret lies in a biological transformation that occurs when rice is cooled before being eaten. To understand this, we need to explore modern nutritional science's discovery, resistant starch. When rice cools, starch molecules reorganize into a tighter structure called starch retrogradation. Amylose chains reconnect and harden into a network that digestive enzymes struggle to break apart. The rice changes its biological behavior. Instead of acting like a rapidly absorbed carbohydrate, part of the starch becomes resistant to digestion, passing through without releasing large amounts of glucose. In the large intestine, it becomes premium fuel for beneficial gut bacteria. These microbes ferment resistant starch and produce short chain fatty acids, especially butyrate, which is vital for health. Butyrate nourishes the colon, repairs damage, and strengthens the gut barrier. It travels through the bloodstream to improve insulin sensitivity, helping reverse insulin resistance naturally. Compare two scenarios. One person eats hot carbohydrates and experiences spikes in fat storage. Another consumes cooled, resistant starches, maintaining stable blood sugar and feeding beneficial bacteria. Chronic insulin elevation locks the body into fat storage mode and prevents efficient fat burning. This leads to visceral fat that releases inflammatory cytokines, damaging blood vessels and organs. High blood sugar also accelerates glycation, where glucose attaches to proteins. This damages skin, stiffens vessels, and accelerates aging. Starving the microbiome further contributes to brain inflammation. The first strategy is cooling cooked rice for 24 hours in the refrigerator. This maximizes resistant starch type 3, which remains stable even if the rice is gently reheated later. The second strategy is combining rice with beans and whole grains. The third is adding healthy fats or vinegar. Acetic acid slows starch digestion and forms additional resistant starch complexes. The fourth strategy: always eat fiber first and starch last. Fiber forms a protective barrier in the digestive tract that prevents sharp blood sugar spikes after meals. Beyond food, Japanese habits include fermented foods, green tea, and eating until 80% full. Gentle walking after meals further improves glucose regulation independently of insulin. Every meal either pushes the body toward disease or supports healing. Changing the temperature of rice or the meal order can transform your metabolic response. It is biology working in harmony. Try experimenting for yourself. Cook rice ahead of time, add seeds, and eat vegetables first. You may notice less bloating, steadier energy, and improved overall well being. If you found this valuable, like and subscribe to Daily Health Secrets. Share this with those struggling with blood sugar because this simple information could change their lives. Which strategy will you try first? Cooled rice, eating vegetables before carbs, or adding resistant starch? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.